Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the stakeholder call for marketing assistance loans, loan deficiency payments, and sugar program on basically covering all the updates today on Working Families Tax Cut Act updates and enhancements to those programs. My name is Jared Haggart. I'm the Deputy Administrator for Farm Programs. Got to step in and pinch hit today for the undersecretary, so happy to be here. And I'll turn it over to Miss Jamie Waite for some housekeeping details, and we'll continue on with the call. So thanks again for attending.
Thank you, Jared. Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone, or good morning for those of you who are further west today. Just a couple of housekeeping items, as Jared has indicated. We are going to go ahead and record today's webinar, and that's to ensure that you all have a recording to refer back to, as well as to distribute to others that were not able to attend today's webinar. Additionally, when we follow up with the link to the webinar, we will share a PDF PowerPoint version of the presentation that you all can refer to after the webinar accordingly. We are going to take questions throughout the webinar today. All participants should have access to the Q&A option at the very top of the Teams window. So if you have questions, please drop those in the chat as you have those questions, and we will plan to address those at the end of today's call as well. With that, I'd like to turn the floor over to our program managers and subject matter expertise, specifically on the price support front, and we'll kick things over to you, Shalay Watson, first to discuss the general updates pertaining to marketing assistance loans and LDPs, and then we will turn the floor over to Dana Wood to walk through some of the finer provisions as it pertains to specific commodities. So with that, Shalay, we'll kick the floor over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Hello, everybody. My name is Shalay Watson, and I'm the Program Manager for Marketing Assistance Loans and Loan Deficiency Payment Programs within the Price Support Division, and I'm joined with Dana Wood, and we're going to just give you an overview of how the Working Families Tax Cut Act impacted our marketing assistance loan as well as our sugar loan program. So next slide, please, Dana. And as Jamie mentioned, we're going to talk about the general updates to the marketing assistance loan and loan deficiency payment programs. Then I'm going to share a few slides about the sugar commodity loan program. And then Dana's going to go into more detail about cotton specific changes. Next slide, please, Dana. The regulations that were involved with the changes that we've done as a result of the Working Families Tax Cut Act include 7 CFR 1421, which is our grains and similarly handled commodities regulation. 1427 is regarding cotton. 7 CFR 1434, we made minor changes for honey, just really some technical changes. And then 7 CFR 1435 went into detail about the sugar program. Next slide, please. And overall, for the Marketing Assistance Loan and Loan Deficiency Payment Programs, the Working Families Tax Cut Act extended the program from crop years 2026 through 2031. And across the board, across the board, there's a 10% loan rate increase. And I'm sharing a link that you'll be able to receive through the PDF. And this takes you directly to our site where we publish our loan rates, our crop year loan rates for the year. And it has other information as well. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then just sharing on screen, I'm not going to read every single commodity because you'll receive this information, but I wanted to highlight the loan rates for the 2026 through 2031 crop year. And so as you see, there's an increase to all the loan rates. And there's one more slide of loan rates if you go to the next one. This is another slide of all of our loan rates. It's kind of condensed. But if you have any questions, you can refer to that link that I shared. Next slide, please, Dana. And then again, I mentioned that link. That link contains our loan rates, the premiums and discounts, as well as our weekly links to go to our weekly and monthly repayment rates. I'm also sharing the rates to our posted county prices that are our daily prices. So you'll be able to go in and actually see what those repayment rates are. These are available on the Price Support website. And I think let's go on to cotton. Let's go on to sugar, please, Dana. And just briefly, some changes that were effective for the sugar program include the loan rate increase. There are also changes to storage rates, and then there are provisions that were updated for the sugar marketing allocation. You can go on to the next slide, please. And these are just some more highlights. We revised the definition for crop year for imports and the market or marketing. We added a definition for domestic sugar industry, new entrant, and sugar storage agreement. And then we also clarified the definitions for a proportionate share and raw sugar. Next slide, please. And then, of course, here's a slide that shows our loan rates for beet sugar and raw cane sugar. And of course, the program for sugar was extended from crop year 2025 through crop year 2031. And it seems a little backwards because we go along fiscal years for the sugar crop year. And then the next slide, please. And then this is our sugar storage rates. These rates have been adjusted from crop years 12. Well, previously we had crop year 2012 through 2024, and now we have updated rates for crop year 2025 through 2031, and you'll see both of them have changed for beet sugar as well as cane sugar. And then I think there might be one more slide. That might be the end of it. Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to Dana, and she'll talk about cotton specific changes. Thank you.
Hi, well, good afternoon. Let's just jump right into cotton and the changes that we have. So my name is Dana Wood, and I'm the current program manager for the peanut program and for our alternate delivery partners. And I've been serving for cotton for the past year and a half. And with the Working Families Tax Cut Act, formerly known as OBA, came several provisions related to cotton MALs, or marketing assistance loans, and loan deficiency payments. So while we fully anticipate a more in-depth training in August with some of our field offices, we do want to be able to share some of that information with you here today and what we've been working on at the national office. So again, OBA, we saw an increase of our cotton storage credit rates, a refund for upland cotton, the average roll price, or what we call the AWP calculations for upland and ELS cotton. And we have continuing authorization through 2031 for cotton LDPs, our special competitive provisions for extra long staple cotton, and the availability of recourse loans, which we call C cotton loans. So jumping right in with our cotton storage credit rates, when cotton is placed under MAL and it's redeemed at an AWP, CCC will calculate the amount of storage forgiven that is to be applied to the loan repayment. So keep in mind, FSA does not pay storage for any of our commodities. We do, however, allow storage credits for cotton only to the redemption of cotton bales when market prices are depressed or falling. Right here is a chart to kind of show you how that works. So as you can see, the AWP is represented by the red line in the diagram. And as the AWP falls, the value of cotton gets closer and sometimes lesser than the value of the principal plus interest plus storage. So for each one of the little bullet points, we get to where we have a full principal plus interest plus storage repayment. And as the AWP falls, then you can get into a partial or a full storage credit. You can get into a partial or full interest credit. And then when we fall below principal, that is where we enter into our market gain territory, where you'll get a full storage, full interest credit, and a partial principal credit. Effective beginning with the 2026 crop year, storage credit is equal to the lesser of the submitted storage charge for the current marketing year or the storage credit cap set by area. So for California or Arizona, that's going to be a payment rate of $4.90. For any other state, that will be a payment rate of $3. Now, this is the same manner as the Secretary provided storage payments for the 2006 crop. Newly mandated storage credit maximums will not be reduced as in previous years. Prior to implementation, we worked with AMS to require a unified deadline to complete storage agreements applicable to cotton by August 1st of each calendar year. So just a real important note, the tariff rate that's recorded for the warehouse at the time of loan making will remain in effect for the life of the loan. enhancements made to COPS for a lot of our stakeholders that are able to access that system will see that the storage credit cap is now a view-only field. Right here, we're going to use this example throughout some of the updates as we go through what the new provisions are. But I want to start with what the storage credit cap looks like. So here we have a bale that's 480 pounds. We've got a date for when it goes into storage in November. We have a warehouse rate or tariff rate of $3.50 a month. For that area, the storage credit cap is $3 a month. This bale is redeemed in July of the following year at an AWP of 56 cents a pound. And we also have already applied our premiums and discount adjustment. So if you look, principal plus interest plus storage is going to be our bale acquisition value. That's going to be about $311.64. We take the weight times the AWP to get our bale AWP value. When we subtract that from our acquisition value, now we have a total forgiven. And in this example, it's $17.64. Storage is $26.33, which means we're going to have a partial storage credit. So our repayment amount is going to be $267.67 because we've taken our forgivens and we've subtracted them from our acquisition value or from our AWP value, sorry. When we start looking at our AWP calculations for upland and extra long staple cotton, we look at what we had under the 2018 Farm Bill. The Economic Policy and Analysis Division, or EPAD, calculates on a weekly basis the AWP for upland cotton using a formula that's based on the 5 lowest price growths that are quoted for Midland 1 and 3/32-inch cotton. AWP was not calculated for extra long staple cotton. Effective as of July 4th, 2025, with the passage of OVA, or our Working Families Tax Cut Act, EPAD will now calculate on a weekly basis the AWP for upland cotton using a formula that is based on the 3 lowest price growths. EPAD will also calculate on a weekly basis an AWP for extra long staple cotton in a manner very similar to that of upland cotton. Going to a low 3 versus a low 5 will change the AWP and is expected to decrease the AWP in all cases. So here at the National Office, what FSA will do is we're going to recalculate the AWP for upland from July 4th, 25 forward. We're going to calculate an AWP for ELS from July 4th, 2025 forward. We're going to retroactively apply the AWP to the loan redemptions and to the LDPs that have occurred since July 4th of 2025. We call this our AWP retro payments. So AWP retro payments will refund to the redeemer the difference of any possible storage, interest, and or principal of upland cotton. It's going to be applied to all upland MALs and LDPs. The MAL retro payment will be handled at the National Office. LDP retro payments are going to be batched with retroactive low 30 payments, which we'll talk about in just a minute. We do not anticipate any impact to our ELS cotton redemptions. So how would that be applied and what does that look like? So here we've taken that same example and now we have a newly calculated AWP. Here you can see the AWP adjustment is 54 cents a pound. We'll go through the same math steps. Our bale acquisition value remains the same, but now our bale AWP value calculates to $284.40. When we figure out what our total forgivens are, and now we have a new repayment amount, what we look at is the new repayment amount subtracted from our original repayment amount shows a refund of $9.60, which we will turn around and refund to the redeemer. The 30-day low optimization window, or low 30 for upland cotton. Upland cotton redemptions are to be made at the lesser of the loan rate plus interest and any other charges or the AWP repayment rate as announced by CCC. If a lower AWP is announced within the 30 calendar days immediately following the date of loan repayment, FSA will issue a refund to the producer equal to the difference between the lowest AWP during the 30-day period and the AWP in effect on the date of loan repayment. This provision ensures that if market prices drop shortly after a repayment, the producer benefits from the lower price through a refund. For this provision, the term producer includes the remitter or redeemer of the marketing assistance loan. If a producer requests an LDP in lieu of a marketing assistance loan and a lower AWP is announced during the 30-day period immediately following the request, the producer will receive an additional LDP disbursement. The additional LDP disbursement will be equal to the difference in the LDP rate used in the producer's initial LDP request and the lowest AWP during the 30-day period. For the low 30 applicable to LDPs, the term producer in this case will be the requester of the initial LDP. A recalculated rate may not, under any circumstances, result in an LDP for which the producer has not already submitted an approved application. FSA will calculate the low 30 amounts and batch payments for disbursement on an agreed upon frequency, but no less than every 30 days. It's going to be dispersed monthly for previous month's activity for CMA and LSA producers. County office producer loans and LDPs will trigger 30 days after the price support activity. We're going to process calculations for the effective repayment date for all applicable bills. It will be issued through MPS for ACH disbursement, and payments will be certified and signed at the national level for our CMA and LSA price support activity, and at the county level for our producer loans and LDPs processed through our county office systems called CLIPS and LDP system. The reason that we point this out is because this is a tremendous workload burden that we did not want to put back on our county offices. So here at the national office, our systems are going to do all of the math. Our producers do not have to come in separately and make an application, and we will handle all of the payments being dispersed here from the national office as well. So after we've done our retro application and we've gotten that refund amount, now we've got to go back and retroactively apply the low 30. And here's what the math looks like there. You can see in column 1, we have our original redemption. In column 2, we have our AWP adjustment where we've calculated our retro refund, which was $9.60. And now we're going to look for every one of those bills. And then in this example to see within that 30-day period, was there a lower AWP? So the example here shows $53.55 per pound. We'll do the same math calculations, recalculating the AWP value, which is now $282.24 for this bill. Our total forgiven is now $29.40, which means we've got a full storage credit and even a partial interest credit. Our new repayment amount is $255.91. Because we've already calculated our $9.60 refund from retro, now we're going to look at the 30-day and we're going to subtract that from our AWP adjust column. And we have a low 30 payment of $2.16 for this bill that we will disperse. For our low 30 payments processed for the period from July 4th, 2025 through the date of initiated processing are anticipated to be ready for certification signing early September 2026. As a reminder, the low 30 payment will automatically incorporate the retro updates that we discussed earlier. This results in lower workload of payments to be certified and signed by our county offices and MPS. Once the low 30 LDP process is run, an information bulletin is going to be sent out to be issued informing the field that the payments are in MPS ready for certification and signing. The national office is going to monitor the MPS activity to ensure that these payments are being timely certified and signed. The low 30 LDP payments will use the same program codes that we have in before. For the crop year 2026 and future, we are working to develop automatic notifications when low 30 payments have generated. So this will automatically tell our county office that within the past 30 days, they've had a redemption that has now triggered a low 30. And again, for most of our cotton that goes through our CMAs and LSAs in a completely different system, we will be batching those on a 30-day monthly batch to be then dispersed to the redeemer or whoever has submitted the remittance for the redemption. In addition to implementing changes, including in the Working Families Tax Act, FSA is making technical changes for clarity and consistency within the regulations. We updated the definitions for extra long staple and upland cotton. We included the availability of commodity certificate exchanges for ELS cotton. We've applied storage credits now to both upland and ELS cotton on redemptions. And we also addressed the rules and kind of clarified those in the deficiencies of $24.99 or less. ELS cotton is cotton that is ginned on a roller gin. It includes varieties, American Pima, all other varieties of the Gospeum barbadense species, any other variety, including first generation, where one or more of the barbadense varieties predominate, which means 50% or greater. And we want to point out that cotton types are based on genealogy, not by planting dates and staple lengths alone. We also clarified our upland cotton definition. It is ginned on either a saw or roller gin. It's any strain of the Gospeum variety that is not a pure strain variety of the barbadense species or first generation thereof. And it's not any variety in which the barbadense variety predominates, meaning 50% or greater. Again, we have included the availability of commodity certificate exchanges, CCEs, for ELS cotton. We want to make sure that we inform everyone that it's very important that CCEs can be used to redeem principal plus interest loans. The reason that we point this out and what we have explained to our field, and especially our CMAs and LSAs, is that when our system takes a redemption, when they select the CCE, then we automatically apply the certificate number. In the case where you have a redemption that does not calculate forgiven interest or forgiven storage, but you're starting to hover, the AWP is starting to hover right above that loan rate to where the next 30 days might actually populate a low 30. We want to make sure that our system has captured the best redemption possible. So the CCE would allow any producer who possibly did not meet AGI provisions to not look at the AGI. It still allows them to receive the gain. And in the case of where you don't have a market gain, but then a low 30, we want to make sure that any future type refund from this new provision is not foregone or seen as ineligible because they selected a different type of redemption when they were not in a gain situation. Storage credits applicable to both upland and ELS. We mentioned that before for our loan redemptions. Previously, ELS cotton, we did do storage credits for anything that was forfeited, but we did not look at it on the loan redemption side. So now that will be applicable for loan redemptions to both types of cotton. And then one of the very last updates we have was, of course, to 7 CFR 1427.220, which is we updated to state that the total aggregate deficiencies of $24.99 or less involving the same fact or basis of liability. And where this came in is that previously county offices and our ADPs would automatically withdraw any receivable for $24.99 or less, resulting from forfeitures and other price support events where a producer owed a refund back. So in the case where if, say, Dana Wood owed $10 on this bail, and then on a subsequent loan or subsequent bail, $10, and then on a subsequent loan or subsequent bail, $10. Now we can add those three together and say that the aggregate deficiency is $30, which is above the rule of $24.99. So this is something that's always been in place. It is not a new rule, but we do think that it was being implemented incorrectly because our rule was not very clear. So again, this is just a clarification in the rule to make sure that going forward, we are looking at the total aggregate deficiencies. And with that, that's all of our new cotton provisions. Here, we just have some contacts for here at Price Support and our subject matter experts and our program managers. Again, Shalay Watson and myself. And then we have Adam Boner, who is also coming on board with us and will be helping us with cotton and sugar. And Jamie, that's all we have.
Well, thank you, Dana, and thank you, Shalay, for the robust information shared with everyone today. I am reviewing our Q&A chat thus far. There aren't any questions. I'd like to hang tight in the event there are folks that still have questions they'd like to drop in the chat for us to address before we close out today. In the event that you have questions following today's session, certainly please feel free to reach out and we will address those as we receive the incoming. Again, as a reminder, as a follow-up to this discussion today, we will distribute a copy of the webinar as well as the PowerPoint presentation that was presented by the team for your distribution and review. I do believe there was a question that just popped in the chat. Dana, this question is specific to the cotton presentation, but the specific question pertains to LDPs and whether or not producers would need to apply for LDPs to take advantage of the low 30 provisions.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get off mute. Yes, I mean, so that was part of the rule. The low 30 does not apply to any payment where an LDP had not been requested. So they will have to apply for the LDP in order for the low 30 to apply.
Excellent. Thank you, Dana. We do have one additional question that was dropped in as well. And this is specific to the calculation for extra long staple cotton, the all world price calculation, but just in general at a high level, how that ELS AWP is calculated.
This can be in a manner very similar to Upland. We will be using 3 quotes as that is what we have available. Jamie, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Dana, I'm just verifying there aren't any additional questions in the chat at this point in time. Okay, with that, we have addressed the 2 pending questions in the chat. I know we're at the half of the hour. Again, thank you all for attending today, and we appreciate your continued education and outreach and support of American agriculture. Have a great day, everyone.